What's up, people? What up, Becky? Jumping on here today. I wanted to thank everybody checking out my channel. Got 570 subscribers. Today's September 3rd. Wanted to give a big shout out to everybody. Don't have too many people in here right now, but maybe some people will see this on a replay. Good morning. Good morning, Amy. I can see the chat on my live. Wallflower, what up? Got today off. Sent my kids off to school. First day of school today. Figured I'd hop on here, say what's up to everybody. It's a beautiful day. Hope everybody's enjoying it. Had their cup of coffee this morning, or whatever your vice might be. Get that day started, you know. Maybe it's a Red Bull. Maybe it's a Monster. Maybe you start your day off with a ice cold brew, black, 2 sugars. But then you're thinking about that dessert. So you run to the store and get a Dunkin' Latte. Double fisting. Tea, I like that. I'm a big tea guy. I like tea at night. I really liked the tea at the Chinese food restaurant when I was a kid. But they don't do that no more. I don't get it. I mean, what about, like, did you ever get bread at a Chinese food restaurant? They don't do that anymore either. They don't want to give you hot mustard. I wake and bake. Shit. Yes, there is a Mrs. Kevy Kev. There's a Kevy Kev Jr. too. I don't know. He just had a new hat made for school. We brought him the lids. And he likes to get a Boston Bruins hat with his name on it. We've been doing it since he was a little guy. And we asked him this time, and we were like, hey, what do you want to put on the side of the hat? You want to put your baseball number? He's like, no. We said, what do you want on the side of the hat? He's like, Kevy Kev 781 Jr. I was like, damn. Damn, this little dude. He got Crocs. He got those gibbets or gigates or whatever the hell you call them. He got Kevy Kev 781 across the front of his Crocs too. Junior. I don't call him JR or nothing. I've been calling him Kevy since he was little. So what's going on, people? I wanted to give a big shout out. 570 subscribers. Today's September 3rd. I just giving everybody some crazy love. You know, been trying to start up this channel. I've been wanting to do this for a while. You might see me on the JFK show, the layover. James Jackson, shout out to them. Kind of gave me a big jump into this. But yeah, my channel, I used to, I mean, I still do. I repair a lot of stuff. I fix shit. And I changed occupations maybe like 8 years ago. I just had to get out of the game. It was a good move. A little sad. I kind of ran a family-owned business for 25 years when I got out of high school, and I was like the last of kin. But I had a good run. Just needed to do some different shit for the kids and stuff, you know. So I made some sacrifices. But my channel is going to be kind of based on chatting with Kev. And I got a building that I used to run that business in that's just, I shut the doors 8 years ago. And I'm gonna start cleaning it out. I'm gonna start going through shit. And I'll tell you, I got, my grandfather started this, my father started it. I ran it for a long time by myself. I mean, I had some good friends and family that stepped in to give me a hand. But I knew what I had to do, so. But I got years of shit. I literally have a garage that I'm looking at that I haven't opened the doors to. It's like a ghost town in there. It's like the day I left it. And there's tools and equipment, shit hanging on the walls, shit that I'm saving that I probably don't have to save. Could be a very emotional time for me going through some of this, but I think I want to like document it, you know, for myself. And I figured I'd bring everybody along with me. And I like, you know, chatting about different things. I like projects. I got some projects going on right now. I've been building a truck. I got an old truck from a friend of mine. Old man Roy. You know. It was crazy. He's a friend of mine's grandfather that you know, I knew of, but never really like associated with him. And when my father passed away, a few years later, I met up with this guy Roy, and he was a cool cat. He was old school, hard knuckles, you know, rough dude. He didn't put up with no shit. And he told it like it was. But we built a relationship. I knew his son. I knew his grandson. I knew who Roy was. But for some reason, we were aligned. And he passed away a few years ago. And his wife had a truck. His truck, he had a 73 Chevy pickup truck that I did some work for him. I put head gaskets in it, cleaned the motor up, tried to help him out with a few little odds and ends, you know, keep it on the road for him. And I ended up getting it. And it needed some work. and I've been going at it. A little bit of sentimental value to me, you know. Um, it's a 73 Chevy pickup. He bought it in 1975. So when I got the title to the thing was like, you know, looked like the Declaration of Independence. Shit was a big ass title. Never seen a title like that before in my life. And I've been working on it. Been working on it like crazy. But I'm like somebody that needs a truck. And part of this whole thing is that I want to clean my shop out. And, you know, I'm kind of by myself doing it. And I want to do it by myself because there's a lot of stuff in there that I don't know whether I'm going to keep. If I had it my way, I'd probably keep it all. But that's what I've been doing. So this time around, when I started working on this truck, I said, man, I don't mind packing the truck and bringing shit to the dump. But I don't want to climb up inside the shit and unpack it. You know what I'm saying? That's like double the work and shit. So I have a good friend of mine that's a master welder, and he designed a dump body. So now I got a dump truck, and I've been putting toolboxes on it because I still do a lot of repairs, like on the road. Family, customers that I've had. And I love the truck. It's an old square body. I'll throw up some pictures. I just put all the tail lights in it and had to rewire all the tail lights. I painted the bed. I cut wood. Shit, we might even be able to take a walk around this thing. I cut wood for the back. And I'm not really a big carpenter, but I mean, I can cut shit. I can, I'm good with the tape measure and stuff. But I put the bed on the back of this thing and wired it all up and started putting the wood planks. And I bought pressure treated because, you know, I want it to last. So my carpenter buddy, he's like, yo, you know, you're gonna have to let the wood like sit outside for a little bit, dry out, because it's treated with, you know, chemicals, so it doesn't rot and it lasts longer, you know. So I let them sit out here for a couple of days, and I started cutting the pieces, and I tapped them all in nice and tight. Looked real good. And then all of a sudden they started shrinking. So that was some weird shit. I wasn't expecting that. Not that I can't fix that, because I fix shit. But I got another plan for it. So I'm just been letting it cure. I haven't gone too crazy on finishing that part because they're still shrinking. I mean, I literally tap these in like so tight with a rubber mallet, and they fit perfect. Double check my measurements. God damn, I don't know if you can hear that, but I guess the guy next door is gonna cut his lawn and shit. But yeah, let me check out some shit on these chats here. Let me see here, people. We'll get back to the truck. Let me scroll back a little bit. porch, in my backyard and shit. Everyone hit the like. Thanks, Amy. Becky G, you're working. Good girl. Get that paper. 35,000. Now we're more like, we're below sea level right now, brother. I'm retired, so I'm home. Nice. Let's see. Those things will kill you, Kev. Yeah, these? You talking about these? I took that fucking drink that fucking Sam Elliott took. See that shit on YouTube? Yeah, I watched the whole video, drank that potion and shit. I could blow a fucking fence down. I'm fucking cured, man. So don't worry about me. What else we got going on here? You got a question, Amy, you got a question about my daughter. My daughter's about to buy her first car. She wants a used one-owner Subaru. Subarus are nice. Subarus are nice. I got a couple buddies at work that swear about the Subarus, Amy. Subaru Forester. Fucking like 5 guys, they got them and shit. Nice. Nice SUV style. Solid. Nice rides. So the Subaru, yeah, I jump into Melanie Little. I follow Melanie Little. She's got a lot of knowledge, man. She's got a lot of knowledge, you know. Coming into that Karen Reed case is how I stumbled upon Melanie Little. She runs her chat tight. She runs her channel proper. She sticks to the guidelines. She runs that shit professional. Shout out to Melanie Little. Always a great show. Those were my thoughts, Amy, on the Subaru. Subarus are great cars. The Forester, I mean, at the Outback, I've heard people putting motors in them Outbacks certain years. But if it's a Forester, shit, I'd be all over that. It will be fun, Donnie, not Wahlberg. Find things I haven't seen in a while. You know, I made a lot of shit too. That was something that my father and grandfather were really big on. They did a lot of shopping. They shopping stuff. The old push reels, the push lawnmowers, you know, the ones with all the 8 blades, 7 blades. I got a machine to shop and that stuff. That'd be a fun video. To bust out an old hand reel, shopping it and lap it. That's how the company got started. And what else? I used to shop in culinary knives, big planer knives, We used to have this big machine. It was called a Cincinnati #2 cutter grinder. It's a big, big self-fed machine, automatic cooling. But we used to shop in these big, big, big knives. I'm talking maybe 16, 18 inches long, big, thick knives. They used to scrape the vats at the Westland Creamery. I mean, I can shop in anything. I can put an edge on anything. Garden tools, axes, scissors, cooking knives, culinary knives, lawnmower blades, chainsaw blades, hedge trimmers, you name it. And I do a lot of that shit still to this day. Friends, family, people that, look for me to do that shit. Let me keep going on. This is, this is like probably my 4th live, so bear with me. Yeah, we could play Guess What's in Kevy's Garage. For sure. For sure. Like I got some old equipment. I got some old chainsaws. Like I started collecting chainsaws because that was a part of line of work that we did, landscaper, tree companies, they would bring me, 100 chainsaw chains, and I'd sharpen them, or I'd do servicing on a lot of stuff. So I started collecting chainsaws, and I got some crazy chainsaws. I mean, chainsaws that'll blow your mind. A couple of them, one was a David Bradley big saw. I mean, 3 feet long. The blades on them, the cutting blades on them are like this. What else? Anything else? What else? What else we got? Yeah, you do need someone to be a camera person, for sure. For sure. Let's see. The name Roy makes me think of Kingpin. That was a great movie. I remember at the end, that crazy lady, she was like, blah, 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 blah. Fucking drives me fucking nuts, man, when I think of that. I'm like, what the fuck? That lady was crazy. Let's see here. What up? What up, Rainbow? Is that a weed whacker? It sure certainly is a weed whacker. That's funny. It's funny because during that kind of retrial, when I heard they cleaned the crime scene with a leaf blower, I'm saying to myself, God damn, Canton police. You gotta be fucking stupid. A fucking leaf blower? And then the dude's up on the stand like, yeah, it was a great idea. It was a great idea. I suggest it. We could get into that. But Karen Reed's free. Karen Reed's free, people. Let's see What about mileage on the car, Amy? Depending on the year, you know? I mean, that's tough. I mean, you could buy a used car off somebody that works in New Hampshire and lives in Mass, so you're going to have crazy highway miles. But, you know, usually buying a used car, you know, maybe off a marketplace or Craigslist or, you know, private sale, you know, you can get a rough idea. Those questions that you ask, you know, those would be questions like, oh, you know, how much city driving did you do? You know, how much highway driving did you do? City driving, you get a lot more wear and tear when people refer shit to city driving. You know, you're hitting your brakes, you're hitting your gas, you're hitting your brakes, you're hitting your gas. A lot of stop and go. That puts a little, you know, that puts, you know, strain on everything, you know. Is it standard? I mean, think of city driving. Some people might not even get out of fourth gear in the city. So, you know, if it's a manual transmission, you know, first, second, third, fourth, they might be, you know, a lot of use on those. Highway driving, you know, you're clicking it in sixth gear on a manual transmission or a fifth gear, and you know you're going through the motions a lot more. So highway driving, you're talking tires. City driving, you're talking ball joints, brakes, transmission services. So you get a little bit of a rough idea on, you know, people say, you know, oh, it's been city driven or it's a lot of highway miles. I mean, a lot of highway miles might not mean a bad thing in my eyes. Not a lot of stop and go, if that helps you. Yeah, those old push lawnmowers, for real. What a workout. Yeah, Kevy Kruger. What up, lovely? Ramblin' Rome, what up? Sarah? Can I get some advice? What up, love bug? What kind of advice you looking for? If you're still out here. What else? Anybody else got a question about, you know, they want to ask Kevy Kev? You had a bad dream about me? My man JFK, he jacked me? Nah. Nah, I'm sure JFK's heart rate was about 70, 75, under 80. Takes a lot to get that dude to want to jack you up. locked me in a closet and starved me, that might help. I have put on a couple pounds, man, since I changed occupations and had these kids and shit. But I bounce back, I fluctuate. Sometimes I take the hat off, I look a little skinny and shit. But I do that. Lovely. It's all good. How are you, Kevy Kev? What's up for today? Well, today first day for the kids to go to school where I'm from. So we set them off. I took the day off. I like to take the day off when they go back. That way I can either walk them there or, you know, stand there with them while they go in for the first day. And I pick them up. They love that shit. Most of the time I'm working. I leave in the morning at like 6 o'clock, 5:30, 6 o'clock. Go get my coffee. You know, chill out for a couple minutes before I pull in the gates. I was sad in the dream. If I was locked in a closet, JFK knows I'd probably be banging on the door saying, motherfucker, when I get out of here, motherfucker, when I get out of here. So, but I was probably screaming. He probably had the music turned up and everything else, you know what I'm saying? So, or he might have went to the gym. He might have went to the gym. He might have left me in there for a couple hours. So yeah, a lot of you guys too. Let me get off the whole shop talk with Kevy Kev, but you know, in the midst of my cleaning and sharing, you know, a couple of decades of hard work and dedication and hoarding, pack ratting with all you people. You guys all kind of met me about the whole thing with Karen Reed, you know, and speaking on Francis Gigalotti, and you know, just some injustice and finding justice, and you know, speaking on a lot of this corruption that's you know been brought to light, and you know, I get a little passionate about it, you know, and there's a little story behind that. When I was a kid, my cousin was murdered, you know, and at that time, I believe I was probably the baby of the family, so I really didn't hear too much about it. I remember when I turned 18, and my mom bolt to go steal this dude's spark plug out of his leaf blower and shit. If you see me get up with a wrench or something. So when I was about 18, my mom handed me this little scrapbook because I was asking questions, you know. And this shit happened in my city. That at 18, now I'm out in the streets hanging out, going to little parties, 4th of July parties. I didn't hang with people really my age. I hung with people a little older than me. I've had this beard since I was about 13. Maybe not this, this thick, but I started asking questions. My mom handed me this pamphlet, little scrapbook of, newspaper articles and and I was just blown away. My cousin was, a straight A student. She's very sociable, with kids in school. She's like 16 going on 17. High school. She there was a neighbor that lived next door that showed interest. He was older. He was married. I believe he had children. And he seemed to maybe, being older, probably had some money, wanted to hang out, go here, go there. At them times, like, we're talking like maybe 82. Early 80s. She was a 16-year-old girl that liked, 17-year-old girl that, was testing the waters. Her parents weren't too happy about it. She might have ran away a couple of times because of, like, the cracking down on, being in at a certain time, and back then you could, sneak out the first floor window and, wait for everybody to go to bed, and say you're sitting on the porch and end up down the corner and hanging out with your friends. And she seeks some help for it. My aunt and uncle and people that were, concerned, helped her to get, some counseling. I believe my aunt and my uncle put a chins on her at one time because, she's growing up, wanting a little bit of freedom. Then all of a sudden, somebody that she dated prior to this, hookup with the neighbor. She had a boyfriend that was in the service. He was getting released, and he reached out to her. And, you know, it was probably for the better. You know, her focus was more or less on, you know, she had somebody that she cared about, was coming back. I think he was stationed out, you know, overseas, and was coming back, and he had reached out to her and said, hey, I'm coming back. You know, I want to see you, and it just changed everything for her, you know. She started, you know, not wanting to get picked up from school, or not wanting to walk up to Dairy Queen, or, you know, with the neighbor that was creeping on her. And in the time that he was creeping on my cousin, you know, I believe he separated from his wife, and, you know, had his own apartment up the street, and, you know, was trying to see more of my cousin. But at this point, you know, she was getting some counseling, and, you know, I'm sure that they were trying to explain to her that, you know, feelings and emotions, and you know, should be focused. You know, you should be focusing on it, and what's gonna, you know, be the right thing. I mean, you know, here's a gentleman that's, or a guy that, you know, was married, had a wife and kids, and he's talking to the girl next door. So after her boyfriend or ex-boyfriend that's coming back from the service, she starts hanging with him, seeing more of him. And this neighbor started reaching out to her friends and saying, hey, like, I really like, you know, Lisa. Her name was Lisa. I really like Lisa. And I don't think I'm gonna, you know, I don't want to break it off with her, or, you know, I noticed she's been spending more time with this guy, and, you know, so I believe she went to a counseling meeting with her counselor, and she told the counselor that she was gonna meet up with this guy and break it off, and just tell him that she's, you know, she's gonna start, you know, seeing this other guy that just come back from the service. And she left the counseling office. And that was the last time she was seen. So she went to this dude's house to tell him, hey, listen, or, you know, met up with him and said, hey, I don't want to do this no more. And he killed her. Her name was Lisa Belmonte. And if you Google the case between the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and William Nadworny, it's all public. But she was my cousin, you know, so there's been an emptiness in my family for, you know, over 30 years. My father was very close with my nieces, his nieces. It was my father's baby sister's daughter. And when I say baby sister, um, my father always referenced my aunt as his baby sister. So that tells you where that was going. He got a life sentence, Becky. And I was going to get into that, you know. So I asked questions when I was like 18. Asked my father a few questions about it. My father was, I believe, the one that ID'd the body because he didn't want his baby sister or his brother-in-law to witness that. My father always had a hard time talking about it. Bothered my father a lot. My father used to go to parole board hearings when he would come up for parole every 5 years, which he was up for parole in 2023, and he was denied. I believe that he's in Walpole. When my father passed away in 2009, his little sister was still alive. She's since passed. But my aunt asked me to go to a parole board hearing with her. And I was like, yeah, you know? And that was the first time I got to like experience see this person, hear what his voice sounded like, and it was crazy. It was crazy because a parole board hearing is almost like a court proceeding, you know. They state the facts in the case from the beginning to the end. So when you're sitting in a parole board hearing, you're sitting almost in a small court session, and you hear the chains, and the guy get placed in a seat. And there was a lot of emotions, man. There was a lot of emotions. I mean, you know, and as you know, at that time, you know, I'm gonna be honest with you. When I would go to, like, you know, I went to a party one time, 4th of July party. And I like old cars. And we got talking. Me and a couple of buddies were in the backyard. He had an old car. And he's telling me he had an old car for, like, you know, 25, almost 30 years. Oh, my father bought me this car when I graduated high school, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, damn. I'm like, you don't see him with a sunroof like that. I said, it was an aftermarket sunroof. Back in the day, you could buy a kit and you could cut a hole in the roof of your car, and it came with a rubber weather stripping and a kit that you could, clamp a window that would open in the roof. And they came big, small. It was a nice add-on, And I remember the dude sitting there saying to me, yeah, man, back in the day, man, he goes, my father bought this car for me when I graduated high school. And it's an older cat now. And he says to me, that thing don't leak. That thing's never leaked. Billy Nadwern, he put that shit in for me. He was doing sunroofs. So, I remember hearing that fucking name. And it twisted me. Because I'm sitting there, I'm saying to myself, damn, I'm at my boy's house that I've known for a while. And, that whole situation was never put together. Not that he would know that I'm the little cousin of the girl that he murdered. Or yet that it would be an issue or, a bother to me that if both our names were mentioned in the same room. But I felt some type of way. And I'll tell you, I remember one of my good friends saying, yo, man, after I walked away, said the dude, yo, dude, put your sunroof in. Oh, yeah. That dude's in jail. Yeah, the dude's in jail for, that was Kev's cousin. Now, at that time, made me feel some type of way, but I was old enough to understand that, maybe this guy didn't know. We have two different last names. But we came from the same bloodline. So I remember my buddy saying, and the dude come over to me and was like, yo, man, I didn't know, man, but we'll just leave it at that, man. I didn't know, my bad. And that was it. And then later on in life, going to that parole board hearing, seeing this dude, hearing his voice, just came into full circle. It was just an experience in my life that, probably needed to happen, because those would be questions that I'd always be wondering about or would want answered. You know what I'm saying? Crazy part about this is that this dude's family owned a business right up the street from my business. And, for me to go to the bank every day, I used to drive by that business. And my aunt, she lived in the house next door to that business. And even after all that shit happened, my aunt still lived next door for 20 years. Next to them motherfuckers. creepiest part about it is that his parents owned a funeral home right up the street from me. You know, and when he murdered my cousin, he put her in the trunk of a car. And she was found behind a Ford dealership on Route 1 6 months later in the trunk of a car. And the fucked up part, from my understanding, is that he used equipment from that funeral home to embalm my cousin to try to make this shit last a lot longer than it did. Which created the situation of not being able to show a cause of death. But she was in good health. She was in good health the month that this happened, leading up to this. It's a chilling story. It is awful. But that's what puts me in the loop. With speaking on shit. Trying to get a message out there. You know? Sometimes people experience shit different. Some people filter shit different. Some people look at shit different. And me, I've had something in my family that, you know, has put a blank spot, you know. Her sister is my godmother. And I know that my cousin Lisa held me when I was a baby. And her two sisters have held my kids when they were babies. But my cousin Lisa never got a chance. And we do have a close family. We're that kind of family that sings Christmas carols in the living room. We are that family that did Yankee swaps. And those can get pretty crazy too. We usually change that shit up too. Try taking something away from my kid. God damn. Kevy Kev 781 Jr. You know, family is important. Family is important. And you know, sometimes I hear people say, oh, I gotta break the cycle. I gotta do this, I gotta do that. You know, to me, family is like a generational thing, you know? A traditional thing. Like when you make time to you know, make plans and have a Easter dinner or a Thanksgiving dinner or a Christmas dinner, and to be with your family and to see everybody, you know, that makes shit a lot stronger than you think. Secret Santa. But yeah, on that little bit of a rant, that's like, you know, that's what brought me into this game with, you know, speaking up and shit. You know, I was young at the time to speak up, and I think I was asking questions but too young to get answers, if that makes any sense. But at a certain time in my life, you know, my mom, you know, my mom was a great talker. My mom, I lost my mom. I lost my mom with that COVID shit, man. My mom was asthmatic for her whole life, born with asthma. Fucking 2 inhalers, eczema, dry skin. My mom, it was rough for my mom as a child. And I'll tell you a quick story on that. When my mother had me with her asthma, my mom had to get intubated during the pregnancy, during the labor. And my mom, so that's just a little note up top. So when all this COVID shit hit, my mom was like, you know, she had friends going to buy groceries for her, dropping them off at the door, fucking 3 masks on, fucking Lysol everywhere, fucking didn't want nobody to come by, didn't want no one to see her, nothing. Well, my mom catches COVID. She don't answer the phone for a couple days. I call her. She sounds all rough and shit. I'm like, damn, you know, what's going on? She's like, I don't know, I can't shake this cold. I'm like, well, she's like, I haven't seen anybody. I haven't touched anybody. I haven't had any contact with anybody. So I go over there and I fucking give her a COVID test. And she's like, I don't want you to come in the house. You got the kids. I don't want you getting sick. Blah, 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 blah. So I'm talking to her through the door. Like I said, she's triple masked up. Fucking Tyvek suit on the other side. She's like deathly afraid of COVID. So I drive home. I'm like, I'll give you like 15 minutes. Go take the test. I call her. Yeah, it's positive. What am I going to do? I'm like, well, just keep doing what you're doing. You know? I mean, if symptoms get worse, you're going to have to go to the hospital. I'm not going to the hospital. I'll die in the hospital. I'll get sick of there. A couple days go by, she don't answer the phone for me. Go to the house. Fucking get in. My mom's sitting on the edge of her bed like delusional, dehydrated. And I remember saying to her, like, yo, what are you doing? She's like, how the hell did you get in here? Like, trying to talk to me all normal. I'm like, what do you mean, how the hell did I get in here? I'm here. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? I said, I've been calling you fucking for 2 days. You haven't called me. I'm like, did you take any medication today? I don't take medication. So I'm like, oh, here we go. She tries to get up to walk out into the living room, and she's all woozy. So I get her to the seat out in the living room. You know, she's always got, you know, ginger ale and cut fruit in the refrigerator. So I go and I get her some cantaloupe and shit, glass of water, figuring something's off with her. I'm like, hey, eat something, will you? She can't even stand up. Talking wild with me. Like, you haven't called me. How the hell did you get in here? So now I'm like, you know, I gotta call an ambulance, Mom. I said, if you're not gonna go to the hospital with me, I gotta call you an ambulance. I can't leave here like this. And I remember my mom saying to me when I walked her downstairs, she's like, I don't want to go, Kevin. I don't want to go to the hospital. I'm like, Ma, you can't stay here. You know? She goes to the hospital and she tells me and everybody else, like, hey, I'm not getting intubated. You intubate me, I'll end up dying. My lungs are scar tissue, blah, 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 blah. I mean, she wasn't a self-diagnoser. She knew her body, you know? And fucking 10 days after fucking going into the hospital, she passed away. Fucking devastating. Fucking devastating. My daughter was just starting to do sleepovers and shit. My mom loved to knit. She used to fucking make gimp. She had gimp, man. That gimp hasn't been around for fucking years and shit. My mom will lace you up a gimp fucking keychain in fucking 5 minutes. Some crazy shit. All that crazy shit. We did all that crazy shit when we were little. Fucking arts and crafts and you know. That shit's real. That shit was real. That COVID shit was real, man. But my mom was always real with me. Back to that whole situation, you know, she's the one that put the light on, like, you know, hey, this is what happened. There was something that happened in your family, you know, 20 something years ago. You're 18 now, like, well, 18, so 16, 17 years ago, something happened. And, you know, you're always asking questions. Why don't you read it? Why don't you read what happened? Why don't you read the newspaper article? You know? That's what brought me to the dance. Inside. You know, that passion to want to know what happened. You know, that understanding about the absence, you know, the loss. You know, what that family, John O'Keefe's family, might be going through. And regardless, Karen Reed is free. I don't believe that she killed John O'Keefe with her car. Google that shit. That affected me. I got a few more people in the chat. I wanted to thank everybody too. You know, 570 subscribers to this channel. Shout out to JFK. You know, very smart friend, very ambitious. Good-hearted, you know. And it's usually a story that gets us here, you know. An experience that gets us here, you know. A way of life that brings us here. You know, shout out to James Jackson. Another guy that's just, you know, gets passionate about things, you know. You know, a lot of times passion and the will to speak on things comes from experience and situations and life challenges. I appreciate that. Just checking this out. Yeah, justice for John O'Keefe. How can we help? Keep showing up. You know? Those are the words from Nan Gallagher. Keep showing up. I'm going to quote her. Because that means a lot. You know? God damn, I don't like bees today. I don't think that's one that bites. Yo, I don't want to go nowhere, but can you guys hold on for a minute? Shit, I gotta get a battery charger and shit. Take me a second. Give me 1 second. I don't know how this works here. I wanted to show you my truck. Let me see. Can you still hear me? Throw up a 1 if you can still hear me. Just trying to save battery power. God damn, Bandit. God damn. Here we go. God damn. Let's see how I do this. I don't know how to. I might have to leave you guys up like that. I just stepped on my dog's tail and shit. What's your favorite car, Kevy Kev? What's my favorite car? Well, I actually have my favorite car that I just purchased about a year ago on the other side of this fence. I have wanted in the 1970s, I have always wanted a Chevy Vega. God damn. I've always wanted a 1970 Chevy Vega. Paper towel under the phone. I ain't got no paper towels out here. And last year I found some paper towels. Yeah, it's a muscle car, Chevy Vega. And I found one. I found a 1971 Chevy Vega, and I said, I'm getting this shit. I'm getting this shit. And in the garage, when I start cleaning it out, there's a Jeep in there. There's a Jeep that's been in there for 10 years. I threw a couple pictures of it up on my profile there on my YouTube. I still have that Jeep sitting in the garage. The shit's green, army green. Still sitting on some big ass tires. Just been sitting in the back of my shop. I would love to pull that out. That's a 1968 CJ5. I got this 1971 Chevy Vega, and I drive my truck, which is a 73, and I drive my Buick, which is a 74. And my bike's a 92. That's an old girl too. I call her an old girl. She's a good girl. Especially when I grab onto her and shit. All my shit though, I like, you know, loud exhaust. Big tires on the truck, big tires on the Jeep. 35-inch tires. Nice tread. This 71 Vega though, when we say muscle car, this shit got line lock. It's got a mega shifter, nice shifter inside there, old school. So I got the car, and somebody had put a 1997 V6 fuel injected Camaro drivetrain in the car, meaning a 97 Camaro, take the motor and transmission out and put it in this car. And someone did it. They converted it all over to fuel injection. So when I found the car, the guy's like, yeah, the car hasn't ran in 4 years. We used to race it. It's got a fuel cell in the back. It's got electric fuel pump. It's got line lock for the tires. Line lock means you squeeze a button on the shifter and it just locks your front tires, so you can burn rubber at the dragway or at a light or down the street or leaving the gas station. Which is a lot of fun. You know, you just touch your brake, squeeze the button, and you let your foot off the brake, and it just holds the front tires locked till you let go of the button. So anyways, I got the car home, and I'm like, these guys couldn't get the car running. Let me fucking take a look at this thing. So I popped the hood. Shit seized solid. Fucking won't even turn over. I got fucking a battery on it, battery jump pack, battery charges, fucking 9-volt batteries stacked up trying to jump start this motherfucker. And this shit wouldn't turn over. So I had to go back to old school shit. So I stripped the whole front of the motor down. Now hear me out. You ready? I stripped the whole front of the motor down. Meaning I took all the pulleys off, the water pump, and I left just the crank pulley. And I took all the spark plugs out, and I started pouring mystery oil. Mystery oil is like a household product. It's a lubricant for squeaky doors, rusty bolts, it ain't for personal use by any means. To fuck you up. But it's like it's the name speaks for itself. Mystery oil. So what I did was I took all the spark plugs out, I poured mystery oil down the cylinder, and I fucked all the cylinders where the spark plugs was, and I shut the hood, and I let that shit sit for like 3 or 4 days. So I come out, and I'm like looking at the front of this motor. I got it all stripped down. I'm saying to myself, what the fuck am I gonna do? I got to get something around that big ass pulley to turn this motor over. So I took a belt, regular belt that you would wear on your waist. I strapped it around the pulley, tightened that shit up. And I clamped fucking some needle nose vice grips on it. Put a big ass pipe on it and tried turning it. Put some more mystery oil in there. Took me about 2 weeks of putting the oil inside those cylinder heads. And I finally got that motor to started spinning. So I'm like, it's a wrap. Fuck, a motor's spinning. Ain't too much gonna get by me now. So I go to the pot store. I buy 6 spark plugs, brand new. Fucking put the battery in. Before I put the spark plugs in, I crank the motor over by the key. It's fucking spinning over, spinning over. And I cleared all the old mystery oil, anything that was, you know, residue left behind. It just was spitting out. Made a mess, but that's, you know, that's part of it. A controlled mess, by the way. But just a little extra that I'd have to wipe up and clean up. Well, put all the spark plugs in it. You know, a couple little fine tuning. Just checking little things, a fuel filter, making sure I got the fuel delivery to the fuel injectors, and fucking bang, the car started up. So in a perfect world, I'd like to have a nice small block Chevy in this car, which, not saying I don't have a motor sitting around, because I do. But I'm gonna start driving this car, you know, and I think October is a great month to drive that car. But it's my dream car. It's my dream car. Almost looks like a old 70s Toyota Corolla or a 70s Datsun, you know, but it's the Chevy make, Chevrolet. It's called a Chevy Vega. Badass. And this got the split nose, looks like a little mini Camaro, which is something that I've owned too. I had a 71 Camaro that I had for a number of years. I had a lot of fun with. It was orange, bright orange with a black hood. I did a bunch of work to that thing. It was 1971. I made that shit 4-wheel disc brakes. I took a newer car, newer Trans Am. Trans Ams used to come with a special suspension called the WS6, and I converted all that into the car. So I had 4-wheel disc brakes on a 1971 Camaro. Yeah, Hogan. Nice 350 in that shit. The motor that's in my Buick right now is a perfect contender. This last time I built the motor in the garage, I went with a Pete Jackson gear drive, you know, gear to gear timing, you know, painted the thing all up nice. You know, I get a little meticulous with that shit. I like that shit nice, you know, fucking 10 coats of paint. It's a lot of fun. My kids like driving in the car. My wife drives the Buick more than me. I hear that shit start up Sunday mornings and she's gone. She likes to, you know, turn the radio up. I like loud music and shit. She likes turning the radio up, taking off, doing her own little thing. Gives her a little peace of mind. And she's not easy on the pedal either. My daughter tells me, Mama burnt rubber. Mama yelled at somebody that cut her off. She burnt rubber. Me and my daughter burnt rubber the other day. She said, Daddy, can you burn rubber in this thing? Shit, we had to put the windows down. My daughter knows what staging up means. Yeah, those hatchbacks is Amy Crew. I like hatchback muscle cars. My buddy had a my buddy had a 72 Nova that was a hatchback. That shit was pretty dope. It was called the Nova Dose. Nova Dose. Where I come from, we all give a name for a car, you know. My orange Camaro, I used to call it Pumpkin. The Buick, I call it Buck. God damn. We've been going for a little bit. I'm glad you guys all tuned in with me. Orange, yeah. Yeah, my car was Hugger orange. That was the color Hugger. It was an old color. Wish I could put the phone down. I don't know how the fucking it won't change me here. Orientation to the video. Oh shit, what the fuck did I just do? I'm in the Green Lagoon and shit. God damn. There we go. Nice. I like 79 Camaros. I had a 79 Corvette L82. I've had a lot of cars. I love cars. This Buick that I got, my father was a member of a Buick club, and when my father passed away, he had a 1940 Buick that I put back together and drove for a little while. It was like the Roger Rabbit car and shit, you know, old school 40. Used to get in the car, put the key in on the dashboard and turn it. And then when you stepped on the gas pedal and pushed the gas pedal all the way to the floor, that's what turned the starter over. So you had to turn the key on, push your foot all the way to the floor, and the thing would be like, and then fire up. And I drove that car for a couple summers. And then I traded the car. I probably should never have gotten rid of the car. but I traded the car for a 1981 Porsche 928, which I thought was pretty dope. Looked just like the one in Scarface. It wasn't silver, it was gold. It was like a light gold, almost like a rope color. But it was a V8 standard 5-speed. Had this Parole exhaust on it, custom exhaust. It was a nice car, but I ended up selling that. Yep, I had a lot of fun in that car. That car used to fly. This truck that I got though now, I've been all over it. It's been crazy. It's been crazy. Because I do body work, you know, do all my own shit, and I don't send my shit to nobody. Two Barracudas, those are nice. Barracudas are real nice. No, body work's not easy to do. You have to have patience, you know. But the best thing to know about body work is that, in my eyes, the way I look at it is that if you're adding filler, you can take it all back off. You just keep sanding, you know. You keep sanding that shit off. You can start over. It's something that can't be rushed, you know. And the biggest thing is that you have to. I find is when you prime before you paint, when you're using like an etchable primer. You know, if you prime the whole car one color and you start to find imperfections, change the color to work those perfections out. Because sometimes your vision gets unfocused because you're staring at, you know, too much gray or too much, you know, light yellow, whatever color you're using for a primer. So usually I change it up. I work it. I primer it. I go around, I circle shit with a black magic marker, things that I don't like. Then I hit it again. And I hit it with a different color primer. So I go back to those spots and I only work the areas that need to be worked. And then, you know, when you paint a car, you want to use a solid primer because you'll get shadowing. You know, whatever base color you put on a car, you're going to get that end result underneath. You use a dark brown primer, you're going to get a dark shade. You use a light colored primer, you're going to get a light shade. I mean, normally you run a dark flat black primer or a dark brown primer if you're going to paint the car a dark color. You want that, you know, that base to be dark. But if you're going to paint something like a gold or a white or a baby blue, you want to stick with, you know, one solid color on the light side. that dog's getting into some shit. Bandit, come here. No. Yeah. You gotta get under that chair. Yeah. Bandit would give Chloe a run for her money and shit. Goddamn. Bandit's 13 months. Bandit's 13 months. Oh boy. He's only a baby. Huh? You just a baby? Come here. Come on. Yeah. Yeah, come here. Come here. You want to say hi? You want to say hi to everybody? Let me see. Let me see. Will you say hi? Huh? Let me see. Come here. Who's this? Say hi to everybody. He's crying. Are you crying? Or you just... Oh. You're just a baby. Say, I'm just a baby. I'm daddy's baby. He's a good dog. He's a black dog. Put him out in the yard and shit. Shut the lights off. All you see is his eyes. Good luck. Good luck creeping around my yard. Well, what do you think, people? Been going for a little bit. Thanks. Yeah, it was crazy. At work about a month ago, my hair grows like crazy and shit. And fucking about a month ago, I was working in this building that I work in, and it was like during that crazy heat spell we had. I remember coming home, I was like, fuck this, man. I shaved that shit right off. Fucking buzzed that shit right off. So this is what's coming back. Me and little 781. We went and got our haircuts the other day. Goddamn, little 781 looks like James Jackson and shit. Goddamn line and shit. All this fucking all cut in and shit with a comb over and shit. Goddamn. Little 781. Fucking fitted hats with his name on them and shit. Kid's a good kid though. Got him in Taekwondo. Fucking loves it. Tells me he wants to be a black belt. God damn. Could you picture a little 781 James Jackson looking fucking black belt? God damn. Oh shit. Welcome to the neighborhood. You might get a little dance party going here. God damn. That's right. JFK, if you say. alright, Bandit. They ain't coming in. Dude's peeking through the fence and shit. Want to know who the hell's out there and shit. Yeah, hit that like button. So listen, I appreciate everybody today listening to my story and shit. You know, a little backstory on myself a little bit here. There's still more to come. You know, wouldn't mind, you know, talking about a few things that, you know, we talked about today in a little bit more detail, a little bit more depth. Get myself a fucking stand and shit for my phone and shit, you know? Yeah. I appreciate it. God damn. I appreciate that, Fergie. Brenda, thank you. Amy, crew. I've had some nice cars. There's been some nice cars in the past shit. In the past 6 or 7 years, I've probably had like 6 trucks. I'm a big Chevy guy. Last couple of trucks I had were Fords, F-250s, you know, Super Duty, big trucks. I like them, but, you know, I always put a plow on something and I'm trying, you know, help people out, make a little extra money, but I'm done with all that shit. Done with all that shit. So my plan was to build this truck and start cleaning my shop out, which we're gonna get into, you know. And I've been trying to set myself up to be able to go and do this, and maybe do this on a day-to-day basis. You know, I get out of work, spend a couple hours in my garage, fucking chat with you people, answer some questions, talk about some shit that's bothering me. This Francis Gigalotti shit, that shit bothers me, you know. I just feel like that whole situation, you know, has been a struggle for this family to get some answers and you know, get the support, which, you know, it's tough, you know. You know, sometimes you think to yourself, like, you know, I would say to myself, like, you know, they see someone standing up for some injustice and see the volume of people that are shouting, you know, let's say free Karen Reed or just, you know, in general, just shouting on a problem that people are, you know, upset about or want closure on or have answers for. And to put yourself in that position and be that person that's looking for that help, you know, they must say, like, you know, like, what's wrong? Why, you know, why isn't everybody out there for me, you know? And that's tough, you know, that's tough on people, you know? So I plan on speaking on that a lot more. You know, there's one thing that I feel like that didn't happen with the Karen Reed case and the justice for John O'Keefe is that, you know, John didn't get no justice, you know. And, you know, I'm gonna leave it with this. You know, on my live today, we reflected on a family and how, you know, when you stick together as a family, and you know, you're close with your family, and you know, you run as a family, it's powerful. And I wish John O'Keefe, I wish his family, you know, would stand up and push for, you know, if you, the Commonwealth, and presented your case, and Karen Reed's not found guilty, like she was found not guilty, then who killed my son? You know, I think those questions should be asked, you know, in the most loudest voice would be that mother and father. You know, and not just settle for, you know, the circus that we've seen, but to push forward and find justice for their son. But I appreciate all you. 570 subscribers. There's still more to come. And tune in next time. Peace and love, people. Smash that like button on your way out. I'm out.